Prime Minister to advise you because of the legal nature of your problem. What we can suggest, though, is that you consult a practicing lawyer if you have not already done so. A lawyer will be able to offer you proper counsel. Claudette Ozol, listen, I effing near got killed by these cops in Edmonton. They ran my head into a cement wall. I'm repeating it. Threw me on an iron bed with no mattress for 6 nights. I made the Prime Minister of Canada aware. I wanted not to hire another lawyer. And this is all the reasons I'm not going to hire another lawyer. It's going to be a class action, and it won't be by a lawyer. Justice Crusade. Here's one I did in 2005. You know, here's one. They're all over the place. Independent inquiries are very necessary. And here I am, exposed, fighting injustice. I'm younger then. Here I am fighting injustice. I'm getting older. But you know what? I'm getting smarter. You look at this. We have to stop. We have to stop. Help make courts honorable, not in disrepute. Failure of our legal system. Justice not accountable. Independent inquiry. It's time, you guys. And now I'm going to get directly into the Law Society and what they should have done for Ken Olson. Immigration lawyer guilty of professional misconduct. Catherine Sass, SAS, mishandled funds in her care, the panel finds. They're supposed to keep this all secret. But they're not keeping anything secret in her case. But they're keeping it very secret in Jay Straith's case. And this lawyer is getting disciplined for a matter under $5,000. Christ, my bill is in the thousands more than this $5,000. And I believe I'm documented better than her. Is there a problem within the Law Society when this professional misconduct is going on? Who is right? Now, this is what I gave to the Law Society, all the documents of corruption they have. Everything and every document they are aware of. And then I made them quite aware of my application to the Supreme Court of Canada. And in that application, I'm not going to read it all because this law shit gets boring to most people that don't understand it. But what we're going to do is talk about this is the Law Society. Okay? In one of my last videos I was counting and I said I had 6 letters from the Law Society. I was wrong. Here's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 is this large brief that I gave to Jay Straith and the Law Society, which they kept for some period of time before they returned it, but they apologized, they appreciate that. It's all about jurisdiction and this corruption. And then included is my application about lawyers that are corrupt to the Supreme Court of Canada and acting, I don't call it acting, it's non-professional services, and I want this to stop. We need an independent board. We don't need a Law Society looking after themselves. We don't need the police department looking after themselves, and we don't need judges looking after themselves. We need an elected board that's going to stop this right across Canada, and we have to elect the High Court judges, so at some point we can stop this, like in America. Now I'm going to read about the Law Society, and then I'm going to end it for today. I know that this is a $5,000 claim, and mine is for much more and more documented, and it's criminal harassment they're doing to my wife and I. Statement of questions. This is the Supreme Court of Canada, the Law Society got. I asked these questions. Is it acceptable in our honorable courts to allow lawyers the right to participate in dishonest and fraudulent conduct and counsel perjury in defense of their clients, which results in the opposite party being deprived of rights and property? Is it acceptable in our honorable courts to allow lawyers the right to proceed forward with litigation in bad faith, where there's evidence that the plaintiff did something to hinder, delay, or confuse the litigation, where there is no serious issue of fact or law which requires these lengthy, expensive proceedings, where the positively misconducting party was contemptuous of the aggrieved party, enforcing the aggrieved party to exhaust legal proceedings to obtain that which was obviously his, thereby abusing the process of law and harassing the aggrieved party. Is it acceptable in our honorable courts to allow lawyers to violate the rules of court and against all authorities to be granted costs for doing so? Is it acceptable in our honorable courts to allow lawyers to violate the Queen's Court Act? Is it acceptable in our courts to allow lawyers to disobey orders of the court? The governing law applicable are the Charter of Rights and Freedoms, 7/15/24, the Bill of Rights, 1A, the Rules of Court. Is it acceptable in our honorable courts to allow lawyers the right to participate in dishonest and fraudulent conduct and counsel perjury in defense of their clients, which results in the opposite party being deprived of rights and property? In BC it does. The Charter of Rights and Freedoms guarantees all citizens, I'm one of them, the right to fundamental justice and a fair impartial hearing. If lawyers are allowed to conduct themselves in this manner, as is condoned in the authority of Garrett versus Kaywood 1985, they are given rights that other Canadians do not have, and thereby creates bias to that special group in our courts. The allowing of this denies fundamental justice to all who are subjected to this activity during litigation. Is it acceptable in our honorable courts to allow lawyers the right to proceed forward with litigation in bad faith, where there is evidence that the plaintiff did something to hinder, delay, or confuse the litigation? Where there is no serious issue or fact or law which requires these lengthy, expensive proceedings, where the positively misconducting party was contemptuous of the aggrieved party, enforcing the aggrieved party to exhaust legal proceedings to obtain that which was his, thereby abusing the process of law and harassing the aggrieved party. It's criminal harassment in BC. It is agreed that a lawyer has a duty to take it full advantage if it's supported by a good faith argument. And this goes on and on and on. And I could read more and more and more, but you know what? It's done. It's done. We'll just state this one. A judge of an inferior court, Comrade Miller and Gardner, is civilly liable for any act done by him in excess of his jurisdiction and in the nature of a trespass against the person or property of the plaintiff or otherwise a cause of damage to him. Such a judge determines the limits of his own jurisdiction at his own peril. You got that, comrades? And speaking generally, he will answer for any mistake, nor is it necessary for the plaintiff, me, to prove any malice or want of reasonable and probable cause. Is it acceptable in our honorable courts to allow lawyers to disobey orders? The Criminal Code of Canada makes it a criminal offence to do so. The lawyers have prima facie defrauded rightful property of one of right to one of wrong. The lower courts failed in discretion, which is the reasonable exercise of a power of right to act in a judicial capacity according to the rules of law and fundamental justice, and affects all citizens of Canada. This legal stuff is very boring, so what I want you all to see, and I'm going to close. The Law Society has given me letter after letter after letter. And I'm not allowed to show you these letters because it's all secret. I can show you the envelopes, and I can show you all the documents in these envelopes, but I'm not allowed to show you all these letters. But I am able to give the name of one of the high-up people that was looking after the files. His name is Mark Bush-Sanich, Bussanich, the staff lawyer for Professional Conduct Department. Now, in closing, thanks again to all you good cops, good lawyers, good guys, because we need your help. Let's stop this corruption in our honorable courts. Thank you. You can get a hold of Ken Olson by wearechangehope.org, and I'm also running for the next MLA. I don't want an MLA that acts for Hope and Chilliwack has got notices on this door of the nightmare I'm going through and is available to the website and does nothing. I want to be able to speak to this MLA Lori when the next election comes, and I will be there to speak for all. Thank you for your support. Good night.